Let's talk about Advaita Vedanta, Advaita, non-duality, and where it's really quite true, and where various people talk about it in a way that it's actually a real hindrance and quite delusional. I'm going to discuss this, and if you're a teacher that's in at least phase 3, or preferably phase 4 onwards, matured abidance, stabilised enlightenment, where you are indeed in contact with step 4 of correct presence practice, which is the nothingness, the void, the everything, the no sparkling, non-sparkle sparkle, please contact me. Especially if you disagree with anything I say here, I'm happy to let's deal with this in an evidence-based fashion. So, in terms of this framework, correct presence practice is a doing. The 4-ingredient overview is, what do you want, what you're going to do about it? Yeah, that requires a doer. That requires your personality mechanism, which includes your ego and your unconscious mind and your physical body and everything, to be in alignment so you are present. So you are that allowing space that is allowing everything that's going on in you, inside of you, to be consciously in your awareness. That's why the 4 steps to presence practice are body, backside, feet, tummy, sternum. Notice how I say body parts and not chakras, because you can't really see chakras unless you're psychic, and how do you know that's not your imagination, eh? Ingredient 3, pillar 3, rules of evidence. I can touch this and feel it. I know I'm there when I'm feeling it, eh? So step 3 is presence. The allowing space allows everything to be, which would include your self with the big S, possibly, depending on your personal definitions. It really doesn't matter, because step 4 is the divine, the everything, nothing, no space, totality of everything. God. So with your correct presence practice, you can be not to. You are consciously aware as and experiencing the divine, whilst you're here in this physical bag of meat and its ego and its chatty head or not, and its opinions and its judgments and its bad days and its frustrations and its desires, until it all does literally just return to God, which is a very advanced phase of awakening. So Advaita, non-duality, yeah, no two. That's when you consciously have your attention in God, as God. Because this is the thing with volitional attention. How do you know you're experiencing something? How are you maintaining something if you're not consciously, and I just point to the head to say, mind and consciousness. If you're not consciously attentive as that, like I'm consciously here, my presence is here, my inner body's here, my presence bubble soaks up all these birds, and I'm, sort of collective mind with them, collective beingness with them. Hey, darling. So that's why this wild animal knows it's safe for me to touch him. Although, because the indicator he'd rather be eating. Hey, darling. Hey? You're a sweet wee bird. So that's evidence, of being connected. They live in a sort of unity, but they don't have the brain power, the cognitive power to know what it is. Just like a baby doesn't when a baby is freshly born, a human baby. They are everything. They are their mother. They are not two. That's why they need someone else to put the food in this hole here to keep them alive, because they don't know what it's for. This is why we end up developing an ego, so we tangles, so we can be functional. So yeah, non-duality, yeah, the no I. But in terms of there is no doer, I'd like to have some explanation as to how your volitional attention, or how you can experience the no to God if your attention isn't there. Whose attention is it? So clever theory saying there is no two, therefore there is no ego. Wow. Grace. I love these videos. Each time when I'm doing a really special video, something happens that's never happened before. Never had a crested pigeon on the table until the magpie scared him. That's grace. Crested pigeon, very cautious. So are you cautious about what I'm saying if you believe there is no doer? What's the evidence in regards to your presence practice? Can you hold the no two when you've broken a bone? If not, then you're seriously not even close to phase 4, abiding presence, matured enlightenment. You're not, because that's an evidential outcome. You can hold broken bones and be in car crashes and have chronic health conditions and severe pain and emotional breakups and people losses and all that sort of stuff, and be tangibly connected to God via your body with your presence as ingredient 3, pillar 3, under the rules of evidence, in a way that is consistent for months and years. It's not just a, ooh, I had an experience, therefore I'm enlightened. Nah, that's a got it, lost it, phase 1. That's the start of the journey, and it's a taste of what's to come, but not actually what happens, because you can't really cognize it with your head. My head still doesn't get it, eh? So with your non-duality, if there is no doer, how do you know if you're experiencing presence or God? What's the basis of free will, of the right to choose? Yes, there is only thy will, but God gave you the choice to be aware as God, as presence, via your inner body and your physical body. You can't say, oh, there is no chooser. There is. Otherwise, you are literally in that big long river in Egypt in your little boat without a paddle. It's called denial. Because you won't have any evidence that you can hold presence in those extreme situations. So let's talk about some of the great teachers. Ramana Maharshi. He had his little mystical experience when he was, well, I can't remember the exact age. Is it 12, 13, 14, 15? I definitely covered it in that one. I spent a month at his ashram, and on Arunachala and Skand ashram. I love Skand ashram, it's great. Great little spot. But he dwelt consciously in this place. And because he hadn't trained himself consciously with correct presence practice, when it all hit him, he basically went dysfunctional. But a lot of people awoke under him because of his bandwidth. They could feel the vibe and consciously acclimatise to it. For those that he termed as the dry wood or the charcoal. That was his metaphor for saying, how ready are you? In this framework here, I cut that crap out, because your awakening to phase 3 abiding presence will mature into phase 4 matured enlightenment if you stick at it. Anybody can do it. It comes down to what do you want and what you're going to do with your attention about it. In terms of pillar 2, your structures, your correct presence practice, allowing all of you, including your ego, right? All of your ego. Yeah. So the evidence builds up. You're holding you and the no you, the I and the no I, the no doer, which is God, divine will, divine everything, consciously in your body while you're at work, on the toilet, in a traffic jam, breaking bones, yelling at the kids. Regardless of the emotions, you can still have God and be juiced out and blissed off your face at the same time. This will happen. Definitely in phase 4, that's where it's total evidence. That's the outcomes. How you describe phase 4 may vary to how I would describe it. Matured abidance, which is what, that's Nisargadatta Maharaj's words for it, and Ajashanti's. come back. You gonna come back? Has it clicked yet that you can't experience God, whatever your version of it is, without your attention being there as that? Otherwise it's unconscious. And it's even in our language. What does unconscious mean? It means it's not conscious. So as your system, your neurology, your psychology, your nerves to handle the bandwidth of God, which is pretty energetic stuff. Gonna come up, honey? Good bird. You learn to hold it. I can instantaneously tune into it because my neurology, my unconscious mind, has that as a default habit now. And I can function in a toxic, bully-lured corporate environment. I don't need to go and hide in a cave and do it. I don't need to remove myself from society to do it. And taking this into society actually impacts the human collective more. So us humans can get our act together before we kill this planet, which we're doing a great job of. That's why I do animal whispering. It's the same structures. You guys are busy fighting, which means I can grab you. Come on, darling. You gonna come back? There he is. He's coming back. You didn't freak out. You didn't squawk. Parrots are very, very quick to complain. So in terms of non-duality, yeah, stick to the core. You can use the neti-neti approach, or as Nisargadatta says in his foreword to I am that. Find out what you are not. Hang on, I've got a bird trying to destroy my phone. Come up here. Good bird. See, this bird trusts me. I'm merged with him, so his fight-flight doesn't freak out. And that's evidence that my presence is strong enough that he feels safe. So are you aware of your presence right now? Are you aware as your presence is the allowing space that allows everything to be, including your ego, your chatty head, your aching whatever, your emotional drama that's hanging around there in your body that you haven't let go of yet? If you're self-honest, you'll be aware that it's there, eh? You don't have to change it, but you know, you can let it be there with God, allowing everything to be. Then you might start experiencing the no-to, the everythingness. Oh yeah. I'll try not to focus on it too much, otherwise I might stop talking. But it's here. And it's stabilised. I've become used to it. Because I've used my conscious volitional attention, my doer, my identity device, my spark of consciousness, because I am a volition device. I love those, that's a new word, volition device. You are a chooser. So I'm choosing to be aware of the 4 steps to correct presence practice because unconsciously that's already there because I've burnt in my neurology and my psychology so I can handle it. So I actually hit phase 4 matured abidance in like 2012, like my 4th year, the end of my 4th year. So we're coming, you know, I'm a decade into matured abidance and onwards. You don't go backwards if you keep your practice up. So I have 10 years of evidence around this. What's your head saying? And if you've been a non-dual teacher for the last decade, pick up the phone and call me. Come on, Tangles. Let's see the most one of the most special little birds in this park who nearly died. Come on, Tangles. His foot fell off. And a toe fell off last week as I predicted. Was that in the Kundalini video? I think it was. That toe's now gone. And it looks like it's healing okay. Otherwise I was going to get him taken to the vet again. Come on, darling. So he's light in weight, he needs a bit of special care. So if you are living in that place, and you think there is no doer, can you please explain that to me? This is a genuine request. Otherwise, you know, Jason Ego guy might do his sarcastic voice and start taking the urine out of it, if you catch my drift. Because a lot of people use non-duality to stay in their head and be claimers and really show a complete and utter lack of evidence when they bag people and they claim, ooh, I'm enlightened, there is no doer, we're always enlightened. At the God level, yeah, but is that conscious in your body? Is that conscious in your mind? Is that your conscious experience? So you have resources to everything inside of you to deal with life. This is the outcome of being the non-two with your correct presence practice, because you're applying your volitional attention, i.e. the doer, correctly to be here. And when you stabilize that habit, which is unconscious, sorry buddy, he's a bit freaked out by my tone. Hey? And then you can have all of this through your life and be that light and that vibration for everybody else. And this is the thing with non-duality stuff, it's very vague. So when you don't know what to do, i.e. correct presence practice, which is incredibly specific and is spelled out in the correct presence practice course, and you get at least 1 hour's coaching with me so I can check in you're doing it right. Everybody thinks they do it right. What's the evidence? The evidence is a lot of people don't even make it into phase 2 non-abiding awakening. That's why I say 5 years or less, if you do the maths. If you put the time and attention in and the effort in, because you're training your unconscious mind to let go of its protective mechanisms so you can handle the wattage, the voltage of God. Angles is back. Hello, darling. Come on. Come on, sweetie. It's only the second time he's landed on the bench. The first one was during the Kundalini video. And I'm talking about Adviata, which is, you know, a fairly key topic for people that want a true enlightenment, true awakening. But you need to be pretty clear on, you know, the evidence and your structures as a human being so you can live as the no-two, no-doer. That's God. God gave you free will. Who's driving the bus? You can't say God's doing it. That's called sleeple sheeple, that is. Isn't it, buddy? Hey? Yeah, I'll give you some more. Hang on. Are you aware of what's going on in your tummy? What's your head been saying? You been conscious of that? You've been awake to what's going on in your head? Your judgments and your agreements or disagreements? Your claw's a bit sharp, mate. Let go. Tangles. What's the evidence? That's what I would like to know from you. If the no-doer is the way to be enlightened, how do you be enlightened specifically? How do you know you're in touch with the no-doer, the nothingness, the everything God? When you're in an argument, where is God then? Because if you were God, then the argument would probably have quite a different outcome. And you would know that you're connected with God. You would stay grounded in your body. You'd be able to use the anger appropriately, even if it does mean you blow your stack at someone. Is it here? Is it? So Ramana sat in a cave for 13 years and had rodents eating him before he got dragged out. By then the Indians had worked out, yeah, there's something cool going on with this guy. Yeah, they would have felt him all right. Yeah, he would have been pretty amazing to be around. If you look at a lot of the other teachers, the ones that awaken, you examine their life and what they did, the structure is there that they were focused and that they were applying. Ajahn, for example, who did the Zen path, Ajahn Shanti, he was an extremely competitive cyclist. My calf muscles are as big as Arnold Schwarzenegger's because, I mean, I'm a biker too. I prefer not to use my car here in this city, Melbourne. So my calves have even gotten bigger. Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, yeah, even through his childhood he was building those structures of consciousness, even though of course he's a very evolved soul anyway, but we're just talking, this applies to everybody. He put the work in, he put the attention in, he put the focus in. Eckhart Tolle didn't. He just kind of snapped when he was doing his PhD. So he went dysfunctional because he wasn't consciously able to understand what was going on. So what did he do to understand it? He went and sat with Barry Long, which is why the pain body concept is in his teaching instead of using Barry Long's term, because he didn't acknowledge him. The pain body is the emotional body, as described by Barry Long. I acknowledge Tolle as one of the keys to why I got to abidance of presence. His book did it for me. I had to figure out what it was all about and to learn how to do it properly, i.e. step one being your body, which he says. This is why the non-dual concept of no-doer is also a little bit dangerous. This is why if you want to believe the theory that there is no doer, if you do truly awaken and you get plugged into the everything, how are you going to function? Because people that do just pop open like Tolle, and I have spoken to others that have had this, they go dysfunctional. You can't hold a job, you can't really function with the family or society until you learn how to hold that and be in the world. But that means you'll also still need to consciously address all your bad habits, so you stay connected as God while you're doing life, while you're cooking the dinner or ordering online or watching TV or driving your car. So as you consciously master the practice of being here and holding all these things in your neurology, then you can respond even better. That's the doing. Volitional attention, the fourth ingredient. The most critical ingredient. Of course, along with pillar one, correct presence practice. What's going on in your tummy? What's your head saying? How big is your presence bubble? And is the divine step 4 everything, nothing, no sparkling, no doer here? Please, if this is wrong, explain to me how. Under the rules of evidence, ingredient 3, pillar 3, because you have that evidence in your life, so we can get specific about it. Because if you earned it, you can describe how you did it, You'll be able to describe what processes are going on inside of you, so you know you are the no-to, the no-doer. You become very familiar and accustomed to being the no person, the no entity, the no, in my case, the no Jason, as I describe in the nothingness video that I recorded in the winter of 2019. It still applies. Hey Tangles. Is it here? Check. Validate it. So it's real. How do you know that you're experiencing it? Because if I was to sit here and talk about this nothingness for another half an hour, I'd just end up with a stupid smile on my face and be drunk on emptiness, as the phrase goes. But who wants to do that? Who's choosing that? And as you settle into phase 4, matured abidance, matured enlightenment, where it's rock solid through all of life's good and hideous events. Hey, Tangles. It becomes normal. Normal. It's not special. Does it feel nice? Yeah, damn straight. But I'm so used to it. It's just here. It is just here. It is, man. Consciously. In my body. In my inner body. In my presence. Inside my divine spark of consciousness thing that knows it's not a Jason guy. Although Jason guy needs to exist for me to perceive it. That's the thing, eh? That's what your ego is. It's the boundary device for you to perceive. It's not bad or good. It's just a matter of, is it trained right? And that's why a lot of the very advanced saintly non-duality teachers are as saintly as they are, because they've trained themselves. All of those bad habits have gone out the door, although some of them are still very original. Nisargadatta was pretty hardcore to be around. Sarcasm off the scale, lots of swear words. Hey, Tangles. Oh, sorry, darling. Do you still believe there is no doer? It coexists with your choice to choose where your attention is, eh? That's the clincher. Otherwise you're denying the fact that you're a human being. Let me know. Especially if you're a teacher and you teach this stuff and you solemnly believe to the core of your being there is no doer. We need to have a chat so I can validate the non-dual practice. How do I validate it? Simple. I'd be aware of the divine nothing, everything, no sparkling sparkle, the no I. As I sit here, it's established. It's the habit of the Jason guy to hang out in that place and watch really cool stuff like these cockatoos having a scrap. Yeah, thank you. That's what he thought about that, eh? See you in the next video.